Jean-Paul Sartre was a renowned French existentialist philosopher, writer, and political activist. Born in 1905, Sartre's ideas about freedom, responsibility, and the human condition profoundly shaped 20th-century thought. He explored themes of existentialism in both his philosophical works and his fiction, emphasizing that humans are condemned to be free, responsible for their own choices in an often absurd and meaningless world. Sartre remained a vocal critic of oppression and injustice throughout his life, becoming an iconic public intellectual in post-war France. His lifelong relationship with Simone de Beauvoir and his fearless engagement in political activism further solidified his legacy as a symbol of intellectual courage and integrity.
Jean-Paul Sartre, born on June 21, 1905, in Paris, France, was a philosopher, novelist, playwright, and political activist who became the leading figure of existentialism. His life and work were shaped by the tumultuous events of the 20th century, from the world wars to the rise of totalitarian regimes. Sartre's ideas challenged traditional views on human existence, freedom, and responsibility, leaving a lasting impact on philosophy, literature, and politics. Sartre's father, a naval officer, died when he was just a baby, leaving him to be raised by his mother and her parents. His grandfather, a teacher, fostered a love of literature and learning in young Sartre. He was a precocious child, constantly reading and writing, and it was clear from an early age that he had a brilliant mind. Sartre attended the prestigious École Normale Supérieure, where he met Simone de Beauvoir, his lifelong companion and intellectual partner. Their relationship, based on a mutual respect for each other's independence and work, would become legendary. Sartre's intellectual journey was marked by a deep engagement with the ideas of German philosophers like Hegel, Heidegger, and Husserl. His early works focused on phenomenology, but it was his encounter with the concept of existence that truly set him on the path to existentialism. In his groundbreaking work, Being and Nothingness, Sartre explored the nature of human freedom and the concept of being for itself, which he distinguished from the passive existence of objects or being in itself. He famously stated, "Existence precedes essence." This means that humans are not born with a predefined purpose or nature, rather, we create our own essence through our choices and actions. Sartre's philosophy is centered on the idea that human beings are radically free. This freedom, however, is both exhilarating and terrifying because it comes with the burden of responsibility. He argued that we are condemned to be free, meaning that we have no choice but to make choices, and we must take full responsibility for the consequences. Sartre captured this idea in his famous dictum, "Man is condemned to be free, because once thrown into the world, he is responsible for everything he does." During World War II, Sartre served in the French army and was captured by the Germans. He spent 9 months as a prisoner of war before being released. This experience deepened his commitment to human freedom and resistance against oppression. After the war, Sartre became a prominent public intellectual, using his platform to speak out against fascism, colonialism, and injustice. Sartre's existentialism was not just a philosophical doctrine, it was a call to action. He believed that individuals must actively engage in the world and fight against the forces that diminish human freedom. This belief is encapsulated in his famous quote, "Freedom is what you do with what's been done to you." Sartre argued that while we cannot control the circumstances of our birth or the events that happen to us, we can choose how we respond to them. This idea resonated deeply with people living in the shadow of war and oppression, and it remains a powerful call for personal and political responsibility. Sartre's literary works, such as the novel Nausea and the play No Exit, brought his philosophical ideas to life in vivid and often disturbing ways. Nausea tells the story of a man who becomes aware of the absurdity and meaninglessness of existence, leading him to a profound existential crisis. No Exit explores the idea of hell is other people, illustrating how our relationships with others can trap us in a web of expectations and judgments. In addition to his philosophical and literary achievements, Sartre was deeply engaged in political activism. He was an outspoken critic of French colonialism, particularly in Algeria, and he supported Marxist causes, although he maintained a critical stance toward the Soviet Union. His activism sometimes put him at odds with both the political left and right, but he remained steadfast in his commitment to social justice and human freedom. In 1964, Sartre was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature for his work which, rich in ideas and filled with the spirit of freedom and the quest for truth, has exerted a far-reaching influence on our age. In a characteristic display of his rejection of bourgeois values, Sartre declined the prize, stating that accepting it would compromise his independence as a writer. Sartre's relationship with Simone de Beauvoir was one of the most remarkable intellectual partnerships of the 20th century. Though they never married or lived together, they shared a deep bond, supporting each other's work and ideas. Beauvoir's feminist philosophy and existentialist writings complemented and expanded Sartre's ideas, and together they created a powerful legacy that continues to influence modern thought. Sartre continued to write and engage in political activism until his death on April 15, 1980. By that time, he had become a symbol of intellectual courage and integrity. His funeral was attended by thousands of people, a testament to the impact of his life and ideas. Jean-Paul Sartre's story is one of a relentless pursuit of truth and a fierce commitment to human freedom. His philosophy teaches us that life is what we make of it, and that we must take responsibility for our actions and their impact on the world. Sartre's ideas continue to challenge and inspire, reminding us that in a world without predetermined meaning, it is up to us to create our own.